Some of you may have recognized that little spot right there. That's probably the most popular parking garage here in San Francisco. A lot of Instagram people go here to take a photo of that. But yeah, just thought I'd show you guys where we park. Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another King Jebs video. We are finally back in the city. I haven't been here in probably over 2 months now, an actual like downtown area, but today I thought we'd do some street photography because I wanted to get out the house. It's late in the afternoon, it's 6:18 and the parking garage closes at 8 o'clock, so we got to cut it out around like 7:30, but got to get some practice in, and I'm working on a new technique right now that hopefully you guys will be able to tell by the end of this video. Man, it's so weird to be here. I feel like I haven't been here in a while, and also being that, you know, quarantine is lifted and whatnot, businesses are opening up, it's still pretty empty. I mean, at this time of the year, Market Street would be packed with people, but if you look right now, I mean, there's only a handful. I mean, there's a couple people biking around, a couple people jogging and whatnot. Not a lot of people, but I'm gonna get started. I have my camera in my backpack. Unfortunately today I'm not shooting film because all of the local labs are still closed, so I can't get any colored film developed. So I'm gonna be shooting with the Xpro2 and a 35mm f2 lens, or excuse me, 23mm f2. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Now that I think of it, this technique might be a little hard to pull off because there's not a lot of people here, but enjoy the video. Alright you guys, so it's been a couple of days since I recorded that POV video, and I was looking at the images this morning and I thought that to complete this video I would talk a little bit about the photographs, maybe even just critique my pictures and talk about overall practice when it comes to something very kind of free-flowing like street photography. Now earlier in the video I mentioned that we were going to be doing something with a new technique. And unfortunately, because of these circumstances, we weren't able to really practice that technique. And I'll be honest with you guys, what I was trying to work on was a technique called layering, where you take a bunch of subjects within an image, and they have different focal points, and you're gonna kind of not necessarily cram them, but put them in areas of the photograph where it makes sense, so that there are individual stories and elements throughout the picture that make it interesting to look at, but at the same time it all kind of works together in a composition. So that's something that I've been thinking about lately, because I've wanted to practice that, and because there wasn't a lot of people out on the streets, it was really hard to find subjects that were all kind of in an enclosed space. So I should have expected that, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna look over some of the images that we made. I got the laptop in front of me. If you guys don't believe me, bam, there she is, so you guys don't think I'm just looking at like the window or something. But I want to critique the images and just talk a little bit about the photographs. Maybe you guys can pick up on something within this. Alright, so when it comes to practicing street photography, I think it's one of the harder things to do, because it's not something that you're going to be doing in like a repetitive motion, so it won't necessarily become muscle memory. When you're out on the streets, not a lot of things are going to be set in stone, so you're going to have to learn new things, and really the best way to practice it is just to get out there and do it. But something that I did try to incorporate in this set of photographs is a sense of loneliness, because this was the first time I've ever seen San Francisco in such an empty, kind of lonely looking state. And to see only a couple of people on the streets, it was really weird, almost surreal. So definitely a feeling of emptiness and loneliness within the photographs. But I also tried to use subframes a lot. Subframes isolate your subject within that frame. It could show just how lonely and empty the scene might necessarily be. So let's just go ahead and look through some of these photographs here. Okay, so the first photograph, or I don't know which number photograph this is the guy standing at the train station here, the tram, and then there's nobody else on the street except the dude. So again, sense of loneliness. I think what I did here was I tried to use that yellow leading line, as well as just all of the beautiful lines that are on the streets of Market Street. You also have the pole right there, but just again, a sense of feeling of loneliness. Things that I wish I could have done better is at the very top of the frame there's the cable wires, and if I were to just maybe bring the angle down a little bit, I can cut that out and just eliminate some of the distraction within it. But for the most part, looking at this photograph, pretty happy, pretty cool how straight it was. I wasn't expecting that as well. But yeah, just to show again, man, the intense loneliness and emptiness of the streets in San Francisco right now. The next image here, not really happy with this one. There's nothing too special going on with it, but I saw the lady waiting at the bus stop, and something about the way the glass in front of where she was standing kind of made her isolated. And again, that's a subframe already, so she's framed within that glass pane there. It just looked a little bit different. So like I said, nothing too special. Okay, so here we go. This next photograph I feel like is a perfect example of subframe. Essentially what I was doing was I found this nice frame within kind of this doorway step, and what I really like about this photograph was the fact that on the top there was that like multi-patterned or let's just say dual patterned kind of ceiling thing. I don't know what you call it. The patterns were nice, everything turned out to be straight, and then the person walked through perfectly and captured them in stride. It's not extremely special. I wish that that little piece of glass on the right side there, if it would have gotten the reflection of the person walking through the frame, I think that would have been nice. There would have been some symmetry and reflection there. But this image, for what it was pretty decent, and something you got to keep in mind when you're out there just practicing making photographs, not necessarily just trying to work on a project. You're gonna make good photographs and you're gonna make bad photographs, but ultimately the entire experience was a learning experience, and I don't regret it. Even though I don't necessarily think this is some of my best work, I'm very happy that I was just able to get out there and make photographs, because that's what it's all about. Let me see, what are some other ones here? Okay, so here's another subframe, property of Glass Fab. You got the dude riding a bike through, and then you have the blue as the subframe there. And also really quick, I wanted to point this out. So I was just gonna do this. Oh, I'm not on silent yet. But I wanted to edit these photographs to look like my favorite color film, which is Lomo 800. And so if you've shot Lomo 800 before, you might kind of notice the feeling of these photographs. I think, you know, it looks pretty close. It's not exactly Lomo, but I think the base of the entire preset here is actually kind of good. It's similar to Lomo 800. I don't think it's 100% Lomo 800. Anyways, just wanted to point that out. All right, so here's another subframe. You got the dude riding the tricycle. That's the Philippines. You got the dude riding the moped through, and again, simple compositions like this. It's all about walking around and you know, trying to identify these individual kind of elements that you see throughout the city. Now, this next photograph of the mannequins turned out better than I expected. So I don't know what it is, but it has kind of like this weird eerie feel to it. I like that on the left side of the frame you have the reflection of the buildings on the other side of the street, and then you also have those little kind of, you know, film reels or whatever you call them, and then just both of the mannequins back to back. There's a lot of symmetry going on here. Again, is it a special image? Probably not, but this was one of the better images, I feel like, from this set for sure. Now, the next image was probably my favorite image from the set. This gentleman was walking down the street, and there was this nice kind of shadow and contrasty area that had also this super kind of yellow, what do you call those, like stoppers or whatnot? I don't know, posts? Anyways, the light was nice. I recognized the scene, and the dude was just walking perfectly through the frame. Now, initially, my first idea was just to capture him where I can see reflection in that mirror, and luckily it looks like I did that here. But for the most part, there's a lot of clutter on the left side of the frame, so I might have gotten him in the reflection. The light might look nice, you know, that little yellow post, a little distracting, but I feel like it's also a focal point here. There's just a lot of things in this picture that poke out at me that aren't necessarily clean and tidy, and so to combat that, I feel like if I were to maybe just tilt the camera angle just a little bit to the right, he would be more on the left side of the frame, but I can eliminate most of the clutter on the side. But then that poses the problem, because I don't remember exactly what was to the right of that yellow post. It could be more clutter, but this is probably my favorite image from the set. And although it's not perfect, I do feel like it was worthy of making the trip to San Francisco just to practice. So yeah, that's kind of a little critique of my own photographs. You guys have been asking me to do that, so I was like, you know what, man, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's talk about my pictures and whatnot. But one thing that I want to talk about before we sign off here is the importance of practicing anything. It could be photography, it could be public speaking, it could be, for example, printing. If you want to get good at something, you always need to have some sort of consistent practice ritual. Repetitiveness, you know, doing stuff over and over and over again is going to allow you to feel more comfortable. And when you feel more comfortable, you feel more confident. And when you feel more confident, it unlocks this like crazy potential within you. And I might be sounding like I'm being preachy here, and I apologize, I'm sorry, but it's the truth, man. You gotta practice to get good at stuff. Nobody wakes up someday and makes, you know, the best images just out of pure luck. If you guys want to have and own a piece of my work, something that is printed by hand, you guys can check it out down below. But before we head out of here, man, really quick, if you guys are brand new to this channel, hit that subscribe button down below. And I'm also going to be working on the street photography critique video for your guys' photographs. So if you guys missed this one, don't worry. In the future, we're going to be doing a lot more, and there's going to be a different one in July. So stay updated with that by clicking the notification bell below so that you guys can know when the next street critique will be going live. And again, I'm going to remind you, when we get to 100K, we got something special for you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, you guys. Have a good one. Get that practice in. Don't forget to drink your coffee. I don't know why I keep saying that, man. That's gonna wrap it up, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, Minolta Gang.